Okay, let's see. What's up, everybody? Joel Bauer here with me. Let me just. So while we are waiting for everyone to connect, guys, today, as you can see, is going to be a very special type of meeting. I'm here in Hokkaido with Joel, and we are. What are we doing here, Joel?
We're skiing.
So
and we're eating a lot of very good food, non-vegan dishes.
And I invited Joel to this call since I know you guys will benefit tremendously from this. Now, just a quick backstory before we begin. I just want to quickly share with you guys. Some of you may not know the story of how Joel and I met, but basically about 8 years ago, I flew to LA. Well, first of all, I did this event and I totally bombed. And there was another speaker at the event that told me, you should totally check out this guy, Joel Bauer. And I had no idea who he was back then. I went online and I saw this one video of Joel, and it was him driving a car talking about results he generated. And then that was the first video I saw. And then the second video I saw was a video with all of the different marketers that I looked up to, and they were all giving Joel like raving reviews and testimonials on Joel. So I said, I have to learn from this guy. And back then was this simple page. It was $15,000 US to go train with him. And I paid 15 grand from those two videos to fly over to LA and learn with Joel. And that's how I met Joel. Okay. And since then I paid him easily well over 6 figures in consults, in training. And Joel has just made me too much money. Okay. So let's just.
And I bought pizza. A lot of pizza.
So let's just say that if you guys have any questions about sales, persuasion, closing, Joel is an absolute master. I can tell you that every single person, marketer, today has in one way or another learned from Joel's principles. And you guys are going to be getting a lot. Okay, so like Joel's topics and expertise is pretty wide, and any questions you guys might have, post them in the group. Okay, so here's how I look at it. Here's how we're going to be doing this session. Inside our Facebook group, you'll see that I posted up this image over here of us having dinner just now at the slopes. If you guys have any questions with regards to closing, presentations, webinars, persuasion, put them in the comment below, and we'll answer any questions you have. And then after that, I will do some of the hot seats. I know that some of you, my team has forwarded to me the homework and the questions that we received. We'll take a look at that at the end of today's call. So Joel, why don't we begin? And I know that this is not easy to talk about, like persuasion, sales, and closing in general. But while you guys think about the questions and post that in the Facebook group, and as I address them, Joel, let's start off with this. Let's talk about all of them that's connected over here right now. Some of them, they're doing webinars, they're on sales videos. Let's walk them through the basis, and you've done this so many times. Like, what do people have to know when it comes to?
Well, why don't we start with an actual tactic that they can all use? It's one thing to talk about theory tonight and give you guys architecture, and then something else you need to study and memorize and integrate and put a lot of time into. But if I just show you exactly what I use, so I'm holding in my hand a cell phone, and I don't carry a cell phone, meaning it's never in my pocket. It's in my case, or it's in a hand case, as I don't like the radiation these things produce. And what is the point of making all this money to all of you tuning in if you only die unnecessarily and prematurely? So the technique I'm going to be using here is one of preformation or preframe. And the idea is that you form their opinion before you begin. So if I'm doing a webinar, or I'm doing a mastermind, or I'm doing a live stage presentation, before I'm ever introduced to that audience, they're going to watch something. Now, we didn't transfer files here. So if someone asks me what I do, I don't talk. If I'm on an airplane, I hand them my phone. The most profitable of speakers and marketers were trained by one man, Joel Bauer.
Amazing public speaker. We have personally thanked you for at least tripling the size of my business. Very much recommend and suggest that you look at what Joel's doing. Everybody was hanging on the edge of their seat, including me. But I wanted to learn how to close from the stage. The first person I went to was Joel Power. You also learn the business side of this business when you deal with Joel. It teaches you everything. So we increase your sales and closes. So get in touch with me. Joel Power.
The only thing that separates me from any other trainer are the results.
As a direct result of learning from Joel, it has generated a minimum of 8 figures, well over $10 million. Show me how.
I've got 65 hours of this stuff, way beyond 65 hours. I don't do anything in the world without running testimonials. Now, the majority of people, when they're closing, they not only accelerate their pace, but that is when they start to use their testimonials. And that is entirely wrong. You are closing them before the presentation even begins. Now, I'm not saying that you're in a manipulative and salesy and negative intention manner closing them, because closing them is giving them an opportunity to invest in you. If you don't have something for them to invest in, then you quite frankly have no business as a digital marketer, and you have no business communicating professionally on this planet, because people want to invest in your process. If they fall in love with you, prime example being TEDx. They hear someone, they love what they said, and then they go online and they find out that the person didn't write a book, doesn't have a webinar series, doesn't have a boot camp, doesn't have a funnel, doesn't have a friggin' clue as to how to scale their presence in their life. You have a responsibility and a moral obligation to allow people and to motivate them and to open the door where they can invest in you, because the value proposition is very simple. They're saving themselves a 10 to 15 year learning curve when they invest in you. Every one of you tuning in here tonight has something inside you. Now, whether this is a hobby that you perfected, whether this is workflow within the business place, whether you are someone who is masterful in accounting or the principles of time management, whatever it is, every one of you has an expertise and a degree of omniscience, mastery. If you don't have a membership site, if you don't have an architecture to share that with the world in small dose, where incrementally they can consume what it is you offer, then you have no business being here, because those are legacy moves. And they leave a dynasty of income that comes in even after your death. And I've proven this because there are students of mine who have died and the money keeps coming in. So Peng Joon is not playing with you here. You've invested in a process by which what we're sharing with you is absolutely what actually works. We're not talking in theory here tonight. So when you don't open with the video before your webinar, when you don't open with a video and you're walking out on a Success Resources stage or your own stage, or the event that Peng Joon and I just did, where he invited people from all over the world to train with himself and his mentor, before we ever walked out in front of them, they had already seen about 2 hours of testimonials, and they're living vicariously through the words of Evan Pagan, Mark Victor Hansen, Robert Allen. They're just some of the biggest names, both male and female, very important, because women do what we do better than we do it. And I want the women here to hear this. I train professional closers. That's all I do for a living. That's it. I train people to do exactly what I do. Women do it better. When a woman is properly trained, no man can hold a candle, because a woman is a nurturer. She empowers people. Women make the buying decisions. Women make the majority of life's most important decisions. And so when you don't show respect for the female, gentlemen, you're making a really massive error. You need to understand, standing on a platform, whether it's online or offline as a digital marketer, you need to have a knowledge of what the female needs to hear, needs to see, needs to experience, because the majority of male communicators are leaving the female out of the equation. This is a big mistake. It's the number one worst mistake you can make, because they are making the mission critical decisions and they deserve that respect. So if a woman learns this process, now gentlemen, of course, if you learn this process, it works very well for you as well. But for women, they will outsell, they will outclose, they will out-nurture, they will out-nourish any male standing on a stage. So, and a lot of women need to hear this because they don't know this.
I want to talk about the application of this in the online world. Okay, so some of you could be thinking, so how would a bunch of videos of people raving about my product process or who I am as a person, help me in my sales process? So this pre-frame over here is applicable in pretty much indoctrinating a person in, whether it is registering for a webinar. Just think about it, okay? So imagine when a person registers for a webinar and one of the things they see on the next page is, hey, this is Peng Joon here, and I'm super excited that you registered. In a moment, you're gonna see a bunch of videos of people that have gone through this same webinar that you're about to attend, and these were the results that was generated as a direct result of just showing up on the webinar, okay? So that's a pre-frame. Now imagine because of that, what do you think is gonna happen to your show-up rates? Gonna drastically increase.
Yep.
When it comes to teaching something, when it comes to, let's say, getting people on the webinar, at the start of the webinar, what if you had one video that just showed somebody and the result they generated as a direct result of learning from you and applying your process? So I could say, so before we begin, you're probably thinking, what am I gonna discover here on this webinar? Well, let me just show you what happened for James 3 weeks after he applied this process that you're about to discover right now, okay? And then I play that video. So think about the feeling of the anticipation and the excitement of your audience when you show that pre-frame.
Let's, I wasn't going to give you guys this, but this is called a one-slide close. And so step number one, make a grid. So I want you all to take a piece of paper right now, take out a new sheet of paper. Don't do this on a computer. You need to draw it. That of which you scribe goes in far deeper. On your grid, I want you to simply make a 3x3 grid. So 3 lines, 2 lines down, 2 lines across. That'll give you 9 squares. Show of hands. Everyone with me on this? Okay. Now I want you to imagine that you take in each one of these squares and you put in 9 of your clients. Now let's say you don't have 9 success stories. Let's say you have 4. So it'll be a 2x2. Let's say you have 25, 5x5. This grid is called a one-slide webinar close. When I taught this to Mal Emery in Australia, trained by Dan Kennedy, it blew his numbers out of the water. He was doing $25 million the next year. He told me that this is all that he used. He also used this close while he drank an entire bottle of JB Scotch on stage while he was doing this close. Now, I don't know how anyone out of their mind drunk does this, but he did it. And I saw him do it, and it blew me away. So my own processes often transcend that of my own experience, because when my students use them, then I know that they work, and they don't just work for me. I don't have talent, guys. I've got technique, and technique is entirely transferable. So in these squares, in your PowerPoint or in your Prezi or in your Keynote, you're going to put a total of, let's say you're using 9 pictures. Each one of these pictures will represent one of your clients. Now, if you happen to have 9 video testimonials, your impact will be at least 20 to 30% higher as a closing ratio. The difference between multimedia, see it, hear it, feel it, get a feeling about it, visualize it, and auditorily process it. Most of you, when you're communicating on a webinar, you're using only language. And language is only appealing to those who relate to language. This is not NLP. This is just basic physiology and the way people process information. If you're using just visuals and you're asking them just to see it and figure it out, that's no good. You need all of it. You need to contextualize it. So the more senses you involve, the more profitable you're going to be at your bottom line closing architecture. Now, the beauty of this technique right now is that you can do your entire webinar, your entire stage presentation. Peng Joon can walk out at ClickFunnels, at Funnel Hacking Live next year, and his entire presentation could be his top 9 clients. And all he does is the following. Peng Joon here, thank you for your applause. Calm down, calm down. Let's just get to the meat of this. Bottom line, I selected 9 of those who have done exactly what it is that you want to do in this room. Each of them built a funnel. Each of them used my architecture, my infrastructure, and they used ClickFunnels as the base architecture so they could do it. The first person went from 0 to 350,000 in less than 6 months. Her name is Sandra. Bang, he plays the video. The video has her crying and totally emotional about the transformation and being able to take care of her children, live life on her own terms, transcending the loss of her husband. I'm just making this up right now, but you get the idea. Short. Bang. He tells the audience now, this is what she did. This is what she plugged in. The audience now takes notes. They live vicariously through the example. Now, the first person who indicated this transformation has just done something that none of you are aware of. They just overcame 3 objections. So the idea behind testimonials that are carefully cut, carefully engineered, is that they are overcoming the objections that you're not going to have to overcome when there's a call to action. Most people overcome objections at the end of the presentation. Wrong. It should be a continuum of and we're on the same page on all this, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, he'll stop me if we're not. I'm here to support what you're learning from Peng Joon. I'm not here to take you somewhere different. So now what's happened is the audience, let's say the first 3 testimonials are, it's too expensive. It's not the right time. I have to think about it. Those are certainly 3 of the top 26. Mm-hmm. And I can teach these in my sleep, and I can demonstrate them in my sleep. And instead of talking about overcoming testimonials, you're demonstrating it because you're living vicariously through the words and actions of Sandra, this person we just made up. So now the audience is sitting there, and at least 20% of the room has just gone, oh, well, whatever it is, it's not too expensive, because they would have made a fortune had they done it sooner. So write that down. The objection of it's too expensive is always overcome by the reality that if I were to have done this sooner with Peng Joon, I wouldn't be in the predicament that I'm in now, emotionally, psychologically, financially, fiscally. I wouldn't be in this horrible situation I'm in where I can't provide domicile, food, and clothing for my children. So he's overcome the first testimonial. Then Sandra says in her second comment, and this is carefully edited, by the way. So when you capture your testimonials and you put each one of them in one of these 9 squares, or 4 squares for that matter, you have carefully calculated and identified objections that you're overcoming. You're carefully cutting the video so that all it does is satisfy closure of a question that someone else won't have, a concern and an obstacle they won't have to overcome. So let's say the second question was, it's not the right time. And Sandra says, if I hadn't done it now, when would I do it? Meaning this changed my life. I finally gave myself permission to get out of my way. She just overcame 2 of the top testimonials. So now Bob pops in, and the pre-frame is that Peng Joon introduces the guy in the middle square now. Now they don't know which square is going to turn on. Simple PowerPoint, ostensibly 9 videos, each one, when you capture them, you don't even know what objections are going to overcome unless we've taught you how to do that. And of course, Peng Joon will be teaching you that, because these are techniques that we use. We know exactly how to get you to elicit the testimonial that's going to provide the exact answers that you need to overcome the objections, and to do that ethically and morally. And Peng Joon will be sharing that with you at later times. I mean, this is a very complete coaching process that he's putting you through. So now in the second testimonial, Bob comes on and he says, I've never experienced this before. I've never had my wife turn to me and say that she's never felt more love for me and more respect. Because when the money started rolling in and she saw that my dream wasn't just a dream, but it could take care of our family and I could do something ethically and morally without compromising my integrity, it meant everything to my wife, which meant everything to me. And he's all, you know, he's teary-eyed, and it's all real, by the way. This isn't manipulation, it's the truth. You're capturing emotionally cathartic moments. So write this down. You don't want testimonials that are non-emotional. You want people that are absolutely glassy-eyed, expansion of breathing, need to swallow, translucencies, eyes roll back, coloration changes, twitching, muscular, you want them all messed up. And the more messed up they are emotionally, the more real they are, because we know that those aren't fabricated. And the only way you get testimonials like that are when you go over it and over it and over it and over it, and you're holding their hand and you're looking them in the eye and you're saying, how do I make a difference in your life? And the camera isn't in front of their face, but it's off to the side. There are techniques for this. In fact, Peng Joon, we had a product that we charged thousands of dollars for, and I'll just send you the file because your guys built the file based upon my language. Let's just gift them. I'll just give you my $5,000 scripts that you can just give to them.
The $1 billion principle?
Yeah. Yeah, because his company actually did the work in translating organizing it and creating all the info. Raise your hand if you'd like to have that as a gift tonight. All the scripts, so that you can have those visceral, palpable, tangible. We charge $5,000 for that. It's yours as a gift. So there's a lot of benefits to being here with Peng Joon, especially when he brings on guests and when he's doing only what works. It's the difference between Peng Joon and the majority of the world's so-called trainers, speakers, marketers, info marketers. They're not showing you necessarily what works. They're teasing you. This is not a tease. This is what we do under fire. So I want you to imagine, all of you, that all 9 of these squares, and let's say that Russell Brunson on the funnel hacking stage or whatever stage it was, it could be any stage, or it's a guest on a webinar, that your entire presentation is just going through those 9 stories. And each one of them has a different takeaway. And each one of them is compelling. And the reason it's so fascinating is that each one of them turns on inside their square. And for 10 or 20 seconds, write down 10, 20 seconds, no longer, there's this emotional, cathartic, emotional, engaging revelation. And the audience can't turn away. They can't channel surf. They're not going to turn off your webinar. And by the time you've gotten done with them, whether they were 25 or 9, you've told your story about your process, your product, your service, your support, whatever it is you're offering them, or combination thereof elements. They now hear about it, and they're selling themselves. They're realizing that they want to have one of those 9 life-changing experiences. And then at the end, when you have a call to action, it's done. You just go here, go to this email address, click on this button. Here's a URL. Here, go to this particular funnel that'll explain in detail this opportunity that's off the table by 12 o'clock tonight. For the first 16, those who take action now will get a $10,000 action. This is when you layer on your stack.
Okay, so I want to talk about the progression, because I know that for some of you that's listening to this, you could be thinking like, but where do I begin? I don't even have 1 testimonial yet. And Joel's talking about getting 9 testimonials where people are crying and emotional. Like, how does that even work, right? So I always talk, I want to make it into action steps so that it's something that you guys can actually apply and implement. So here's how I look at it, right? When you identify what those top objections are, the first thing you got to do is write those objections all down, because like what Joel talks about, really, it means that the entire presentation is a close, right? The one thing that differentiates top closers from average ones is they realize that the entire presentation, the entire webinar, the entire sales video is a close, whereas average speakers and closers and marketers use the close as the close. So how do you make the entire presentation a close? Is when you structure the entire thing to strategically answer all of their objections. So if you can identify things like, but I'm too young, I'm too old, but I don't have the technical experience, I don't have the know-how, what if it's too late? What if the ship has sailed? If you can identify all these different objections.
Let's see the top 3.
Yeah.
Is it easy? Let me give you the top 3, and then Peng Joon will tell you how to overcome these. Is it easy? Does it work? Can I do it? So my mentor was Mary Kay, and she taught me that if I could address those 3 concerns. So when Peng Joon walks out on the stage, he needs to make it easy. If they feel throughout the entire presentation, hear me, all of you, hear me, really hear me on this. If I never see you again, if you just get this, you get everything. Is it easy? They will not buy from you. If you're not taking something that's fundamentally complex and you've broken it down systematically, transferable, duplicatable, sustainable, you made it simple. Number 2, it's not enough for it to be easy. You need to prove that it actually works. And that's why we use the punctuation of testimonials following each move. You see, when you talk about something and you teach it, and they go, yeah, that's good, that's good. And you teach it in a really exciting way, online or offline, they still don't know that it works. So when you show that testimonial that confirms that the thing you just taught worked, it made someone $100,000, it brought someone back together with their child, a daughter that had disrespected her father because her father, quite frankly, wasn't giving her the one thing a child wants, which is time. That's all a child wants. They want the time They don't want to be raised by an iPad. So when you satisfy that need, that's huge. Number two, is it easy? Does it work? They need to know that it works. So that testimonial is confirming that what you just demonstrated works. Third thing, most important, if you don't get a yes, yes, and a yes, all three of these, you fail. Is it easy? Does it work? I wonder if any of you know the third one. Raise your hand. Just put your finger on your nose if you think you know the third one. Okay. Now, maybe you've met me before. So, Ryota, how are you, sir? Ryota.
Yes.
So, is it easy? Does it work? What's the third one, sir?
Can you hear me?
Of course I can. Yeah.
Okay. No. I thought you just. I don't know if I misunderstood your question, but I thought you just told us that if you can do it.
Okay. So, just is it easy?
Sorry.
Does it work? You're right, by the way. You did hear me earlier. He's very alert. So, I want you all to write down the third one. Is it easy? Does it work? Can I, Ryota? Can I, Quina? Can I, Davina? Can I, Leek? Can I, Peng Joon? Can I do it? Because when Peng Joon walked up to me, he spent $22,000, flew to LA, plus expenses.
Mm-hmm.
And you walked up to me and you said, this is too easy. Like, I'm a little concerned about this because I've already been to all these expensive courses. And what you're teaching me is to tell my story and to relate it in a very real way. And I'm used to being told to write metaphors, speak in allegory, do all these complicated things. And I spent a ton of money doing it, but it didn't work from the platform. It didn't work from the stage. It wasn't going to work for him. And he did exactly what they told him to do. All these big name so-called trainers and producers, and they were big name. Is it easy? Does it work? Can I do it? If you satisfy those three concerns, your closing ratios will be out of this world. But they really need to believe it. And the third is the most important. They don't know. So here's the problem. If you demonstrate something that they can't do, they automatically say, oh, well, Peng Joon, he's super talented. He's super thin. He's got an amazing physiology. No matter what he eats, it doesn't stick to his body. So if he was teaching diet principles, they would go, well, come on. He's got superior genetics and he's younger than me, blah, blah, blah. You never want to demonstrate what the audience can't do. Only show them what they can do. Never demonstrate talent. Always demonstrate technique. Technique is transferable. Talent is not. So I just wanted to make the point that if they satisfy only those three, is it easy? Does it work? Can I do it? And you throw into that, it's too expensive. And you throw into that, well, it's not the right time. Maybe later. I need to consult with a loved one. These are all standard objections. And when you have a list of these objections, which Peng Joon will be exposing you to in many, many different ways, the business of closing becomes not a problem. Peng Joon, what was the thing that I shared with you where I said I closed you before I met you?
I was going to bring that up.
Okay.
One of the things Joel said that I found really interesting was when he said something along the lines of, I closed you even before you were born.
Before your parents conceived you.
And I was like, huh. And then he brought up, and he talked about why, based on human basic wants, needs, psychology, if you can identify what people desire, then, and you cover those things and give them what they want. I probably butchered the entire thing, Joel. Why don't you talk and explain in your words?
The reality is that your intention before you begin your webinar, your point of engagement, that your intention to serve that audience and empower them. One thing Peng Joon finds very attractive about me is that you'll never hear me talk about the money. You'll never hear me talk about how I'm going to take the room apart.
Davina, no, it's not the looks, for sure.
No. Meaning that you are there to serve them. You're there to empower them. Peng Joon and I share one thing in common that's very rare. We actually want to train the audience regardless of whether they invest now or not. We're going to take care of them. If they don't buy the first time, it doesn't matter. they'll invest the second or third time. The key is be the person that's actually serving them and supporting them. Teach them things of significant value. Dan Kennedy is of a very different mindset, and he's brilliant. We're in no way making a negative here. Dan Kennedy believes in the T's. You identify the problem, but you don't solve it. You indicate that there is a solution. It's called the tease and agitate. I don't do that. I identify the problem, and then I begin to solve it, and then I run out of time because we only had an hour or 90 minutes provided by the producer or the constraints that are preordained by establishing an hour or 90-minute webinar. So when you run out of time, you say, there's so much more that I wanted to give you, which is the truth. It's not a lie. For those that want more, for those that want my proven and transferable and sustainable process with guarantees where I pay you if you fail, the stronger your guarantee, the higher your closing ratio. You want to talk about guarantees for a moment?
Yeah. When it comes to guarantees,
we have no plan tonight, by the way.
Yeah.
We had dinner and he just turned me on and here, come into my room.
We're in Joel's room, but guarantees, how guarantees work for online offers that convert is creating a guarantee so that most people give a guarantee where if you are not satisfied, then ask for your money back.
Yeah, if we don't exceed or transcend your...
I believe a good guarantee should be, if you believe this is not the best training of its kind, then ask us for your money back. And that guarantee, when it's positioned that way, has got a world of difference in conversions. So if you take a look at all of my offers, and I'm not talking about guarantees on like things that take up money and time, like done for you work, consulting, all those things won't have the guarantees, but I'm talking about like the low ticket stuff. Low ticket stuff, coaching, things that's mid-tier. When you have a guarantee that you will over deliver, that they will have an amazing experience, rather than saying, if you're not satisfied with it, just that language alone will make a huge differentiator.
Yeah, let's take a fundamental basic construct, the triple lock guarantee. So write down triple lock guarantee. A triple lock guarantee is, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll give you the exact languaging on this. I am vehemently pissed off and disappointed by the guarantees that are generally made. A 5-day right of rescission is an absolute disrespectful posturing in front of an audience. Big producers will give you a 5-day right of rescission. You can't even begin to evaluate or even receive the product or have time to assimilate it in 5 days. It's their way of saying you're screwed. Number two, ladies and gentlemen, if someone gives you a 30-day guarantee, hey, come on, your mom's sick, your dad's not feeling well, your kid's got the flu, there's a million things going on in your life. We all know you're not going to open the box or take a look at the system or begin to implement in 30 days. A 60 or 90-day guarantee is where someone begins to believe in their product or process. So ladies and gentlemen, what I want you to do right now is write down the following. Number one, I will never buy from anyone that doesn't have a minimum of a 1-year guarantee, because we all know that if we were given a year to try something on for size and to make all the moves, that if that system worked, we would not only make the money, but we'd have the freedom, the leverage, and the ability to absolutely be in a position where we have an incapacity for failure. Number two, if for some reason we absolutely, for some reason, didn't feel that the person teaching us was authentic, that they really cared about us, so they had a proven track record, we'd have a full year to back out and we could get 100% refund. Our money would be right back in our bank account where it belongs. Let's face it, you're not making interest. Number three, the one thing you all need to understand is you either invest in your ongoing education or you give it to the government. And I don't think the government's putting it in schools and roads. I really don't. I don't think the government necessarily puts tax money where tax money best serves the people. So if the government is giving you one of the very few advantages you have by ascertaining ongoing education, then there is no risk. We all know that having your money in the bank account doesn't generate enough interest. We all know that we've bought used cars before that fell apart. Biggest waste of money. We've gone on vacations before with family members where they were giving us attitude. We would have rather been anywhere else. We've all spent a fortune on things that didn't work. What if someone was willing, Write this down, ladies and gentlemen. Someone should not only give you a 1-year guarantee or don't do business with them, they should also pay you if you fail. Full refund, plus they pay you if you fail. They should be that sure about their product, their process, their proven step-by-step methodology. So, ladies and gentlemen, understand something here. I will do all of these things. I will pay you $1,000 if you fail. After making all the moves in my system for 1 full year, we'll wire you back your money. If for any reason you didn't triple your investment, minimum, triple your investment. You're not going to triple your investment in a bank account. You're probably not going to do that on Forex or in commodities unless you're an expert. And we know how dangerous, and we've seen recently what happened with crypto, very dangerous. We're not talking about risk here. We're talking about reward. I've already shown you that it's easy. I've already shown you that it works. There's no question. My track record speaks for itself. We live vicariously through the words and actions of others. And finally, I've let you see that you can do this. And so I will pay you if you fail. No one else will. Your parents won't pay you if you fail. Your college you went to that made all that money off of you and didn't teach you how to set up your practice as a doctor or as an attorney or as a plumber, as a lawyer, as a voyeur. No one in traditional education is teaching you how to make a living. They don't teach you how to monetize. These are monetizable, transferable, and sustainable procedures. So understand that your guarantee here, you're covered at every angle. Only a moron wouldn't move forward. Only someone who chooses to fail, which is a choice. Imagine letting your children down. Imagine letting your wife down. Here's the big question. What is the one thing that you will do in your life now that will change the condition of your life, financially, emotionally, spiritually, physiologically? What is the one move you will do? And you have 1 full year to do it. And if it doesn't work, someone pays you. And you got the real free education that actually worked. Discuss how many angles I'm covering here.
First of all, I want to say a few things. Okay, I want you guys to notice the difference in presentation styles between Joel and I. Just because I learned and trained with Joel a long time ago, notice that I'm nothing like Joel. Okay, and one of the things, if you notice what Joel does, is he takes these points one by one and he really drills deep into these different points. Like just this guarantee alone, I don't do that. I rush through it, and I know.
Oh, talk about the simmer.
And I know that.
Talk about the simmer.
And I know that if I took my time and do what Joel does, and I go deep in this, my numbers would improve. There's just
even though he's killing it right now.
Yeah. So understand that when you take a look at what Joel is doing, and when you were listening to that 5-10 minutes, and you're thinking like, how do I apply this for me? Think about.
They don't even know what we just gave them.
The languaging, okay? The words that he used. One of the languaging patterns are so powerful and crucial. And I can tell you that when I was in that practicing mode, trying to do this 8-10 years ago, what I would do literally is I wrote down the words, the script, I read it to myself, and I recorded it. And I played it so that it's ingrained in my brain over and over and over again until it became unconscious competence. Okay, that's what it takes. So as you are listening to Joel and you're thinking, I don't know how to apply this, I want you to be able to reframe that and think about how can I take the words, the languaging, and all of that so that you can apply it in the context of your industry.
We're in no way implying that you're supposed to copy everything I just did. If you just take a section, a smidgen of a smidgen, because you're going to get this, they're going to get this recording.
Like usual, as always, it's going to be posted in the members area.
Which, by the way, we were discussing earlier, that's bad because a lot of you guys don't show up.
Guys, look, right, there's 42 of you live right now. And the truth is, I know that many people, they tell the team saying things like, we'll watch the replay because the replay is available. But the truth is this, okay, ask yourself, when was the last time you ever went to watch a replay of something that you knew was 90 minutes long? Okay, most of the time we never make that happen, okay, especially when there are like 50 plus videos that's all 90 minutes long. You're not going to make the time for it. So one of the things I'm thinking about is I want to make it painful so that people that's not on the live calls, they feel the pain. So there's incentive to be here live. So I appreciate you guys being here right now, but yeah.
Can I mention? So what he's going to do is for you guys tonight, you get the whole recording. For anyone else that wasn't here, he's removing all verbs and adjectives. Each verb will be edited. He's also cutting out half of his face and his lips will be quivering. No.
Okay, wait. I want to do a quick Q&A just to make sure, like, guys, any questions you might have, please post it in the Facebook group because I'm going to be monitoring that and getting Joel.
There's also a chat built into this.
There is, but
yes.
I prefer just having people comment here so that we can answer the questions here. Okay, Kimberly says, what are you doing differently that most people are doing to achieve goals in daily life? I guess this is more of a personal development thing. Joel, you want to take this?
Yeah, sure. Can I see her? Is she with us here?
Yeah.
That
Kimberly.
really helps. So let's actually unmute her.
Kimberly, where you at?
I've learned that this is really important. If the person's actually there and you can speak to them directly, the beauty of Zoom. Okay, so maybe she's on our next screen.
No, she's over here. Oh, Kimberly has no mic.
Oh, okay, no problem. So Kimberly, in terms of my achieving personal goals, first of all, I set realistic, and I don't set goals. I set outcomes, and an outcome has flexibility. A goal will actually set up an outcome of failure in the majority of cases because a goal actually implies a date and a time. Shu Ying, wouldn't you agree? Time and date. So let's say beyond your control, you set a goal on finishing a funnel.
Yep.
But the graphics people didn't quite bring it together. The copy was still being split tested.
Yeah.
You were so sometimes, and then you say to yourself, well, wait a minute, I said October 3rd at 3 p.m. So I don't do that. I have an outcome. And I use something called a dream card. And so my entire life is based upon this thing called a dream card that establishes in the 5 key areas of my life exactly what I want to do. And so every single move I make on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly or yearly basis, I always say to myself, is the move I'm making now in direct alignment with my dreams, my goals, my aspirations, my outcomes, or am I sabotaging myself with every move? So let's say that one of the 5 areas on this card represents health and fitness. And I'm about to order dinner off a menu that has 3 options. It has a salad with no dressing, very healthy. The second thing it has is chicken wings full of GMOs, and they were tortured when they were little baby chickens. So these are the worst kind of chickens, and they're covered with sugar sauce. And the third item is a burger, also referred to as a booger, where they took a cow and dropped it in. Okay, so here's the menu, and I'm about to make a decision. But inside my hand, Kimberly, I have this dream card. And if Peng Joon, if he asks me, I'll give it to him. I'll give him the whole training on this. And it teaches you how to make your own. And Kevin Trudeau, who generated over $3 billion on the internet, $3 billion as an infomercial specialist, said this was the most powerful tool that he ever saw, bar none. Forget vision boards, forget putting a picture of a Rolls Royce on the side of a refrigerator. This vision card. So I have the card in my hand, and because of the way it's constructed, and because it represents, Kimberly, a contract or a covenant with thyself, if you lie to yourself, that's the man in the mirror. That's the woman in the mirror. That's the person in the mirror. You lie to yourself, that's the worst thing you can do on this planet. It's bad enough to lie to other people. So now when I put my hand underneath the menu, Kimberly, and this goes for anything in any area of my life, that dream card is constantly in my hand or on my phone the second I turn my phone on. When I put my hand under the menu and I see the 3 options, I say, is the move I'm making now in alignment with my dreams, goals, aspirations, or sabotaging my life with every move? And because my goal was to get in great shape so I could be here longer and stronger, I always make the right decision 98% of the time. So in terms of achieving more every day, Kimberly, I've got everything broken down into pictures and words. I lay them out. I find a graphical representation of that dream or that outcome, that bigger picture. And every day I'm moving towards those. And by the way, I'm serious. I actually do this. So right now I'm planning for my masterclass. Give them some idea of how much preparation I put in before class.
Joel's Joel's putting in too much preparation to things that a lot of things I deem unnecessary, but one of the things he inspires me to do is just like how he's obsessed with the work that he does. He's obsessed.
Yeah, this isn't a job for me. This is my life. Training students so they will have what I have or even more. My wife gets pissed because my students, we got tons of students like Peng Joon who make more than I do. And I said, well, why is that a problem? This is not a competition. I'm in competition with myself. I'm just there to deliver. If they have a stronger message to market match, they will naturally make more. This is nothing. This is not a competition. This is not a game of chess where there's a winner and a loser. I just want to improve my game and make sure that my students get there faster and easier and less expensively. And they don't have to go through the stress and the trepidation and the anxiety and the frustration that I went through over 43 years. And that should be your objective in serving your community. You want your students to do not only what you do, but to transcend it. That's the absolute truth. This is not, I wasn't raised competitive. I was raised, my mom said, she never told me I couldn't do something. She never put me down, ever. She raised me alone. My father took off when I was a month old. And when I was born, I had spinal meningitis, 2 spinal taps. They told my mom I'd be dead in 7 days. And then they told my mom I was retarded because I didn't talk till I was 6 years old. Well, maybe I am retarded, but I'm high functioning. I don't care what people think of me. All I care about is that their process works and that I can help them to get somewhere as a bridge. I'm a bridge to get them there faster. Don't you feel the same way?
Yeah. And what I like to do is, with the limited time that we have, because we have questions coming in, I want us to spend like 2 minutes just quickly answering these questions.
So to talk about what I just did, it was a difference between answering a question and providing a full-blown solution with the video where I set the expectation in the pre-frame on them wanting the training. Now, whether you deliver it or not is irrelevant. But how many of you wanted the damn training on the dream card? So I took her question, and instead of just superficially answering it, I built the whole architecture expectation. And so from one question, I would get people to want to embrace my entire membership by giving them a sample of the membership so deep and so profound with a triple lock money back guarantee. You get the idea? That indirectly brings them in as an induction to your entire world. And you're not doing that to be manipulative. If you don't believe in your process and you don't know that it's going to change your life and you don't know that there's a value proposition so significant in what you're offering that so transcends anything else they're going to embrace, you got no business doing this. You're supposed to care. So now let's answer questions the fast way.
Okay. Davina says, suggestions to polish tagline for my free offer, which is currently cheat your way to property riches legally. Is that the best I can do? Can you help me improve on this?
Well, cheat,
Please,
by the way,
Davina.
is a very powerful word, Davina.
Yeah, Davina, I'm going to unmute you. Go ahead.
Yeah, but Davina, I would run from the word cheat because even though you got my attention and even though it would stop me in my tracks, I wouldn't want anything to do with you. Personally, you're not going to attract the ethical, moral, or integrity-based person. And that's the person that you want to attract. I regret some of the people I've trained because they can take what it is I teach and they can abuse people.
So
and that's terrible.
I think the word cheat it might be a good hook for a Facebook ad, but to be used as a tagline for a course would attract the wrong crowd. So I would definitely change that. And
I would say the secret or the 5 secrets or the 4 inner secrets, meaning the word secret is infinitely more powerful than the word cheat. Funnel hacking live, the very word hacking could have negative implications. But of course, Russell's already transcended that. He's showing you the fast way, ostensibly, to do something that others have failed at over the years, and that is building an effective funnel and having the upsells in the back end. So the very structure of your phrasing, the copywriting, we could sit here. That's a coaching question because you and I could sit here and break down the copy, and that might be a 3 or 4 hour discussion. But if we get it right, it could be a $2 to $5 million funnel or more. So
I agree.
Yeah. By the way, some questions, Davina, and I apologize, that if we were to answer them and give you that short, tight answer, as so many marketers do, we'd be dealing you a disservice. So I'd rather tell you the truth. That requires more time and more thought, and that's really coaching level. So when you guys ask questions here, if you ask a question that isn't open-ended, but that it's very specific and very based upon what it is that Peng Joon has set up as his curriculum or his teaching. And I don't know, because I'm jumping in here from dinner and, you know, I really didn't even know about this particular program. But I'll tell you one thing, he told me how much of his time goes into this and what you guys are getting. And I'll tell you something, it's a steal. It's absolutely a steal. I mean, Tony Robbins right now, I just spoke to one of his students, who's one of my students, and they spent $100,000, and I asked them what their takeaway was, and they said, well, the value of time. And I said, you spent 120 grand, and that's your, he said, well, he said, I had a good time, and I met other people who spent 100 grand, and you know, that high oscillation frequency of hanging out with people who spend all that money. I said, how much time did you get with Tony? And I'm not going to say anything else. I love Tony. Tony's a friend of mine. We're the same publicist. But guys, you get Peng Joon. You're getting his interaction. But the one thing and I talked to him about this at dinner tonight, and I was really ticked off at him. I said, and by the way, that'll get your attention. I was really ticked off at him. I really was ticked off at him. But that has your attention. Raise your hand. Does that have your attention right now? Why was Joel pissed at Peng Joon, right? So that's a natural hook. So when you go out on a line and you're emotionally, like I was not happy with him because, do you remember why?
What, today?
Yeah, dinner. I was upset with you because you were giving too much for too little. And that is, you were giving away personal consulting time.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this, like Russell, see, you don't know this, but Peng Joon is going to put you in a position here where your time is so precious. And number one, you're going to shift your perceived value, how you're conceived, how you're received, how you're perceived, not only by others, but by yourself. It's going to change. And you have no idea how valuable this is. If that's all that happened to you, outside of the monetization skills, outside of the conversion skills, outside of delivering your message to the market match, outside of building your products and services and delivering them to a community that so transcends anything you've ever manifested before. But the fact that he's going to increase your perceived value, your family will look at you differently, and you will finally make the shift and recognize the fact that you've been giving your time away, giving your languaging away, giving your trainings away. No one has any value, including your friends, when you just give them free advice. That's why they ask all their friends. And then the only person they're going to listen to is a mentor, someone they invested in where they've got skin in the game. If you don't monetize, you continue not being taken seriously. This is your absolute, as I said to you earlier, moral obligation to package, position, and profit. Because if people don't invest in your knowledge, they will not take action. The greatest mentor in the world is you. The greatest mentor in the world is not Tony Robbins, it's not Joel Bauer, it's not Peng Joon, it's you. The person who listens to you and impacts change in their life, and it worked, then you become their greatest mentor. This isn't about the world's best. You are, look, where I live, there's the #1 foot massage place on every corner in Los Angeles. Every one of them says the same thing, #1 foot massage. And I wonder, who has the best? There is no best, there's only the best for you. If you relate to Peng Joon, then he is the finest mentor in the world for you. If you live through, so here's what I got ticked off about. He has spent over $700,000 on his training. That's non-traditional training. I know that 2 years ago, he spent over $250,000 just that 1 year on additional training programs. And when you come to him in this organization, this infrastructure, you don't get all the nonsense he was exposed to. You get the sort, sift, and the separate. You learn only what works, and he omits everything that doesn't work. Plus, he has the ability to explain things more clearly, systematically, and surgically, where you can instantly implant them and provide the solution that you're trying to provide for your audience. So whatever you're paying here, whatever you're investing here, it's nothing compared. Now, this is only if you implement. This is all a waste of your time if you don't implement. Take this very seriously. You don't need to find another shiny object. You don't need to find another mentor. You found Peng Joon. He's one of the very few people out there who teaches you how to do exactly what he's doing. His thinking, his psychology, the entire neurology of why he does what he does, and he cares. He has a profound connection for the students that he empowers.
Wumin says, and I get this question a lot.
By the way, talk to them. Only I can promote you like that. You can't promote yourself like that. Talk about that for a moment.
So no, first of all, okay, what Joel's doing is a lot of layers in here. I see what he's doing. He noticed that what he just did, I won't be able to say. I mean, imagine if you incorporated something like that
You can cut that out
in your
You
webinar.
can cut that out of this video.
Yeah.
And you can use that in your ongoing marketing.
Yeah. What people say about you and your testimonials and the results you generate will be a lot more powerful than copywriting, than the hooks, than the subtitles. Something to think about. Okay, next one. How do new speakers like me get high quality testimonials from influencers in the industry? Okay, let me just say this, okay, because I want to cover. It's not high level influencers that will actually convert for you. Remember what Joel talks about? Is it easy? Can I do it? All these different questions, in fact, will be answered when you show a testimonial from somebody who's not an influencer. Because when you show a testimonial from an influencer, it's easy to go, well, of course, Peng Joon can do it because he's got this superpower. Of course, Joel can do it because he's got that superpower. Because, of course, Russ. So even if I showed all these testimonials from all these different speakers, authors, authorities, leaders, legends, it actually does not convert as people who are just normal, ordinary human being, never did it in the past. And actually, if they were able to give you that testimonial is going to convert a lot better. So if you are new, forget about these high-level influencer testimonials, because let's face it, a lot of them, celebrities, they can be paid anyway. It really has not much weight when it comes to conversions, but rather it is a good mix and match. 1, 2 celebrities, great, but really what really makes the difference in terms of conversion is the people that has no experience. So how do you get those type of testimonials if you're starting out? By willing to work for free, turn them into case studies, and that is how you start building up your portfolio of testimonials.
So let's also address the question from the standpoint of what it is you wanted. I helped Tony Robbins. I helped T. Harv Eker. I helped Eben Pagan. I helped James Malinchak. I've helped all these people. They came and they trained with me, and I created massive value for them. And then I didn't ask for anything in return. I'll never forget Eben Pagan saying, I never give testimonials, turn on your camera. And he walked up to me and gave me 2 testimonials. I didn't ask for their testimonials. I train them, you give from the heart, you create value. And whether it's an influencer or whether it's your next door neighbor who loves the fact that you were there the day they moved in and you brought them a pie, or you brought them a newspaper, or you brought them a puppy from a new litter of puppies that you had, and you knew that their dog had been hit by a car and it was one of the worst moments in their life. You were a credible neighbor, and they talk about that relationship. Sometimes it's not about the money. It's not about the transformation in their body size or the amount of money they have in a bank account as a result of you. It's the result of the fact that you're always on time, that you always keep your word, that you're a person of character and dignity. Character testimonials can be very powerful. And again, if you have famous testimonials only, people don't relate to those because they know that big name people, especially infomercial people, people in the media, have a price. At least that's what's perceived.
Green says, I don't have 9 testimonials for my webinar. What can I do to get those by then?
2 by 2, 4 by 4, 5 by 5. Work with what you got. Go to 4 family members. So Kareen, is Kareen here? Can we talk to her for a minute?
I believe so, Kareen.
Is she here?
I did see her like.
Is she there?
5 minutes ago. Kareen, are you there?
Kareen, you want to unmute? I think he's giving you unlock capacity. Okay, so instead of being Kareen, I'm going to work with Davina.
Oh, wait. Kareen, here you are.
Kareen?
Hey.
Hi, Kareen.
Hi.
How are you?
Yes.
Nice to meet you. Kareen,
Hi, it's Karen. It's Karen.
Oh, Karen.
It just got a Y.
Oh, my bad.
Karen, I want you to write down step number 1. Let me give you all a gift here that's really quite huge. Karen, do you know someone that has a
I
business.
think my system is freezing. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're fine. Don't worry about it.
Hello?
Okay, so tell you what, let's mute her, and I'll just go through the steps here.
Okay.
So we don't have to worry about that. So Karen, don't worry if your timing's a little bit off right now. When you watch the recording, you'll get all the steps. This goes for all of you. Step number one, do you know someone with a business, or do you have family members that are at least they're comprised of 4 people that might be interested in what it is you've solved a problem with? So whether that's accounting, or whether that's weight loss, or whether that's changing physiology to improve their energy, their vitality, their stamina, weight loss, permanent weight loss, whatever it is, that transformation, you ask whether you could spend a few hours with them on Zoom for the next 3 weeks, an hour per week on a Wednesday night from X to X. Now, if you can't do it live, you do it on Zoom. Zoom is free for up to 40 people for up to 40 minutes. So you're not going to be with them for even over 30 minutes. You take care of them over 3 weeks. They learn your process. You have a series of notes that you've set up for yourself. And as you talk to the camera right here, you can literally set up a prompter, or you can have a little Microsoft Word document open there, and you can just scroll through it to make sure that you cover all the points you have. But as long as your eyes are within an inch of the camera, which is the camera built in to his little Apple computer right here, then you're not going to forget what you're talking about. You empower those people. At the end of creating massive value for them, you ask only one thing in return. I am bypassing the $5,000 charge for my course. You put a value on it up front. Those who provide a testimonial get in for free, no charge. If you won't give me your testimonial, and that's only if I've created massive value, that's only if I've suspended your disbelief and provide a step-by-step and thorough, proven and transferable and sustainable process that will take you from X to Y, complete transformation in the area of my expertise. So you set up the expectation for them that this is going to be an incredible training, and you put your time in your preparation so that you know how to address your syllabus, your information. You teach them from the heart. They will all give you a testimonial in the end, and they'll give it to you in real time on Zoom. You now have the video testimonials already captured by Zoom. And when you do it, you go from gallery to individual. You can change the settings here where just the person talking is the only person being recorded. Then you excise that little video using Movavi or using Final Cut Pro or using, what's the basic program that comes with Apple for editing it? The basic.
QuickTime.
Well, oh yeah, iMovie.
iMovie.
Something as simple as iMovie or Windows Movie Maker, any of those programs, you just, Kareen, have generated 4 to 6 to 9 testimonials by creating value ethically and morally, not being manipulative or salesy. And you just created a course, Kareen, because all those videos can be broken down into little, talk to them about that. That one of my problems in life is I give too much.
Yeah. So
break it down.
I can't do what Joel does in terms of how he just really drills down into one thing like deep, right? And Joel can go on and on for like hours talking about like one thing. So when Joel was talking about how he could dissect your tagline and spend 3 hours talking about it, there's a lot of truth in that. Like, he's not kidding.
And that's not wasted time.
Yeah, no.
No.
Yeah.
Copywriting. By the way, excuse me. I was sitting with Shu Ying while this man was up here giving a private consultation here for an hour. And we're down there and we're talking about the complexity of some of the magnificent funnels that he's generated and also with his team. It's an amazing team, but he directs it. And it's this idea. It's from his heart. He wakes up in the middle of the night with the kernel of an idea and he can't help himself. And that's why you'll never see anyone in marketing, one funnel, the next funnel, they're all succeeding and they all coalesce. You got a brilliant mentor here, brilliant. And I not say this lightly. So there's something you don't know. Shu Ying and I are talking and I said to her, I said, so when the graphics are all set up, who's writing his copy? Because the copy is brilliant. She goes, he writes his copy. I go, he's writing all that copy himself? Some of the best copy I've ever read. She says, it's his copy. I said, how long does it take him to do it? She says, sometimes it falls out of him. And sometimes sometimes it's really painful. He'll hone it and refine it. Sometimes it's in a night. She says, it's whatever it takes. It kind of stews inside him and he knows when it's right. And then he does all his testing. You're being taught by someone who really gets it. He's an expert at wordsmithing. He's an expert at the approach. He's an expert on the hook, the double hook, the back end, the stack. He really gets it. And if you didn't read Platform Closing, if you didn't read that book and study it, let me tell you something. If you read it once, you should have read it 30 times. And you should have highlighted it. And you should have taken each point, put it on a 3x5 card, and then made an example of it. That book should be studied like people study the Bible, because it has biblical implications in terms of your bank account and your ability to take care of those you love. You people have a responsibility now to make a lot of money on this planet, just to live reasonably well. To live, I mean, Peng Joon and I are in a unique position here. We want to go skiing? Fantastic. We go skiing. We don't say how much does it cost. We don't even have gear, so we buy our gear. We do whatever we have to. This business, this is all that we do. And it really does give you the ability to live life on your own terms. I mean, I'm on tour now for 7 weeks. I just finished 6 events, and I'm going back to teach my master class. My master class is completely sold out. When I get back to LA, my master class there is complete. Guys, we want you to have what we have. And we're up here. And tomorrow we get to piddle around in the snow. What do you think we're going to be doing in the snow? Autoresponders, videos. And it's not a plan. We can't help ourselves. It's just like we're sitting there on the gondola. We're sitting there on the chair. Other people are sleeping. They're scratching themselves. And we're like, hey, wait a minute. Turn on the camera. Because you get an idea. Everything around you acts as a stimulus. I remember when you came on the cruise, right?
Joel organized a cruise, I think, 6 years ago?
I'm doing my last one this year.
And when I went on that cruise, I shot like 110 videos.
No, you shot 175. You broke everyone's. You broke the record.
100-ish, 175 videos in that week. Okay, so.
And you got good at it.
I think one of the requirements is you got to be obsessed with what it is that you're doing.
Yeah, guys, we would do this for free. And sometimes we do. I just came back from the Philippines X amount of months ago, and I certainly wasn't going there for the money because they didn't have the money. I was just going there to help people. Can you imagine doing something you love doing, and you go to parts of the world where people can't even afford it? You empower them, and you give them the ability to fish. Now they can take care of themselves. This is so not about the money, because you will have the money. You will make the money. Your intention should be to serve, support, and leverage people. Your value proposition, and that's why your stack is so. When you make an offer, they can't say no, because the money is incidental when the offer is properly constructed. That's why when Russell closed 3.2 million or 12 million or 1.8 million, guys, it's the structure of the presentation. Russell will tell you that he's not talented. It's technique. Am I lying? He will not tell you he's the world's greatest salesman. He will not. He'll tell you that just like when he learned to wrestle, he learned the moves. And he practiced. Doesn't he work hard? Or the hard?
He talks about that journey all the time. And at the recent event, he actually talked about how he showed clips. He actually voxed me, and he said he drew inspiration of how from the video of how I first started out. And he went on to find the video of how he first started out, and it was just so fun. He was like bald in a suit, and
worse than your first time.
And his call to action was, "Who wants a piece of that?" Okay, which is like a big thing in the whole ClickFunnels community right now. So yeah.
Guys, I just want you to know something. If this little kid who at 6 years old, my mother heard her sister say, he's retarded, you need to put me in a special home. And my mom picked me up off the floor. She put me in the car, child safety seat, and drove me to Binghamton, New York. I was raised without family by my mom, who didn't want anyone to ever say to me, she didn't want me to hear, he's retarded. You know, this is the hand we were dealt. Let's learn to maximize our time while we're here, because it's short. One of my students, Emma Tibbins, she died not too long ago. And she said that as a result of training through my process, she died without a bucket list. She didn't know she was going to have pain in her chest. She didn't know it was going to turn into a tumor. She didn't know she was going to have open lesions and bleeding. She didn't know that she was going to have stage 4. She didn't know that her years were going to be very few on this planet. But she said, Joel, I die having done everything that I ever wanted to do. I was an international speaker. I was a marketer. My funnels convert. My products convert. I leave money for my children, for my son that keeps coming in. I was able to take care of my son when my husband was unfortunately not able to take care of us. A man is not a plan. Ladies, hear me clearly. A man is not a plan. Your self-esteem, it's pivotal, all of you, on doing this. You're not going to find anything more rewarding than what Peng Joon is setting forth here, the structure. You're not going to find anything that's going to give you greater self-esteem and a feeling that your life has purpose. And when you have purpose, you become unstoppable. So if right now you find yourself entering into the nation of procrastina, and from time to time you don't know what's shutting you down, it's because you haven't found your purpose. And the only way to find your purpose is to pick something fully committed, plug it into Peng Joon's model, his structure, his systems. And if it's not the right thing you plugged in, I so promise you with the fabric of my being, I so promise you on a cellular and cellular level that what is the most important thing in your life, your true purpose, it will surface, but it will never surface if you don't make a commitment. What are your feelings on that? Because it's the only answer I've come up with for people, and it's the only thing that works. They've got to make a commitment to something.
I know that when I first started out, my whole goal was I want to be able to make money online. And I know that that goal and that intention is what drives most people to begin. And it was when I stopped chasing that income and switched over to impact on serving others, on the value that I can create for others. That is when I really took my business to a whole new level.
Sorry.
So I don't know how else to put it, because I know that that sounds like some motivational piece a motivational guru would say when they say, you know, you got to do what you love and love what you do. And that sounds like another cheesy thing people would say on social media, but I can't emphasize on that truth enough, because that's what happened for me. When I stopped being Tony Sanders online and I stopped trying to hide behind that game and serving more people.
Yeah, guys, and it really does. And again, we're not trying to be, when people ask me, you know, are you a motivational speaker? I go, no. This is the person you're going to have to answer to. You look in that mirror, and if you've given your best, and you've done, if people ask me all the time, are you nervous when you go on stage? I don't have time to be nervous. I'm too busy wanting to serve the audience, and I'm in preparation process. And so when it's all done, they go, well, are you happy? And I go, I gave everything I had today. I had no more to give. I can't teach at a deeper level. To the best of my ability, I was as prepared as I'm going to be prepared this morning. I gave them all I had. And so even if it didn't work well, even if my closing ratios were low, even if maybe they didn't get it, even if they were a little confused, it happens from time to time. I don't beat myself up for one reason. It doesn't mean I can't improve. I take notes. I listen to feedback from people I respect. If I've given my all, I can sleep that night and start again. Today is the tomorrow you worried about yesterday. You know where I heard that? I heard that from Anthony Hopkins, one of my favorite actors. You know where he heard that? He doesn't know. Where did I meet him? I'm not an alcoholic, but I was at an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. He's an alcoholic in recovery his whole life. And I met him there. I've met some of the greatest people on this planet and seen some of the greatest speakers by attending. My mother was an overeater, so I used to go to Overeaters Anonymous with her. So I would go to AA meetings, DA meetings, any kind of meeting with 12 steps, and you will meet the most profound speakers because they learn to speak from heart. And the reason I go there is to remind myself that I'm one bite away from being an overeater, one drug away from being an addict, one drink away. It can happen to any of us. I know with my personality style, it just never happened because I was fortunate, but I know that it could happen. So I want you to listen to this once again, because this is not original, but I live by it and I really understand it. Today is the tomorrow you worried about yesterday. Why is it you won't take action? This is all you got, guys. As Eleanor Roosevelt said, it's the present. This is the gift. Your past is irrelevant, and there's an expiry date on holding your parents accountable for the condition of your life. The time has expired. I don't care about your mommy-daddy relationship. I don't care that your mother stood there and watched by where you were beaten, taken advantage of. I don't care. It doesn't matter. All that matters is the present. You don't know what your future is going to be comprised of, but you certainly can dictate a life by design versus a life in default by making these moves. You don't understand this. You're not doing this just to make money. You're doing this because it's going to provide the purpose that's going to drive your life forward. And you're going to be an example to your children. If you don't give them an example of ambition, they grow up without ambition. They grow up without purpose. The famous saying, never give your children enough to do nothing, just enough to do something. My children don't know, but they're set for life. They'll never know it. I'm not going to tell them. Don't you tell them. They're all pursuing their passion. My son, who's currently finishing at Berkeley in Boston, which is ostensibly the finest school of music in the world, not Juilliard. He doesn't play violin. For what he's doing, Berkeley. One day I kind of blew him away. I was sitting on the phone talking to him. We're on Zoom, face to face. No matter how many times you click from place to place, it'll never replace face to face. I'm talking to him. And I said, you know, I don't care what you make as a musician. If you can pay your bills and enjoy all the thrills of your life, doing something you love, whether you teach music, play music, vocalist, whether you produce music, if music is what you want, I'm going to be so proud of you, as I already am. You're pursuing your passion. You're not pursuing someone else's vision of your life. It's not the amount of money you make. The people I've been most impressed with on this planet are the people doing something they truly care about, period. Consume yourself with your process. Identify one of your passions, allow it to become your purpose. And if it's the wrong purpose, the right one will surface. I can guarantee that. Peng Joon will never mislead you. I would not jump on anyone else's broadcast like this. You know, there's no secondary anything here. We're together. And this was a man who was my student. Then he became my graduate. Then he became my peer. And now we mentor each other. I learn from him. He learns from me. He is a mentor. There's no two ways about it. It has nothing to do with how old he is. It has to do with his wisdom and his experience. I watch his videos as you do, and I'm just like blown away by them because where does that voice come from? Where does that clarity come from? He's got to be an old soul. He's got to have lived many lives because he's found his voice. And when I met him, he wasn't sure. He was putting the pieces together. And here's what he hasn't told you. He really believes that this is tactical. You can learn these moves. He didn't know that he had a gift, and he still doesn't feel that he has a gift. He feels that he has life experience. You're going to learn that your life experience has value. It's a shift that's going to take place through this process.
Guys, isn't that amazing? I'm just blown away. I'm just sitting here and listening. Wow. I see a lot of questions in here, and if Joel wasn't here, I would be answering all of them, but I want to be very respectful of Joel's time because I know that he didn't sleep last night.
I got a cold. I'm fighting it.
And Joel's fighting a cold as well. So, Eileen, I know you've got a question here, and my team also forwarded your questions for your hot seat. I do believe that I saw your questions, and I know that there's quite a bit, and I don't want to go deep in the hot seat with you. But I also know that you're running events right now. I'm just going to unmute your mic real quick. Is there anything you would like to find out or discuss or talk about? Like that's really crucial that you can't wait 2 weeks that you want to ask Joel or myself?
I guess I would just ask, when you're first starting out, I just started an evergreen webinar that's selling a live event ticket as a bonus to my events. Do you recommend channeling them to one event, or do you recommend giving an array or selection of cities that they could choose to attend at any time of their choosing?
I know that choices and giving people choices in most cases always decreases conversions.
Yep.
Because when people are tasked to choose something and it's not one logical choice, that's when they think, oh, but when should I go? I don't, and all these other considerations that otherwise would not be there would now surface. So I would definitely make it just one event. And the way I would position that event would be when you bundle it with the course, not to give it away for free, but to phrase it whereby you're going to say, for those of you who invest in this program, I am going to waive my $5,000 tuition for my live event, where all you need to do is to cover the cost of the workbook and the printing materials for only a $97 materials fee. So that way, when you actually do that, they are now no longer thinking about whether they can make the dates or not. Because if you did what many marketers do, which is include tickets to a live event for free in your webinar as part of your course, then an objection you naturally create would be, I don't know if I can make it to that event or not. I don't know if I can fly out to that city. I don't know if I can make it to the dates. However, if you say I'm waiving the $5,000 tuition, all you need to do is cover the materials fee of only $97. Then even if they can't make it to the live event, even if they can't fly out to the city, even if they can't make the dates, it's okay because they're still getting the online thing. And in the future, if they were to decide to go to the live event, they can always pay that $97. So that's how I would package and position it.
Yeah, also just as a secondary point for those of you, Peng Joon just gave you the correct formula. It's the one that works most effectively, but also when you're offering scholarship tickets, if you don't have a $49 or $97 opt-in, you're making a dramatic mistake because you're going to get a bunch of tire kickers. And those that show up, in many cases, are not qualified. Now, Ron LeGrand and myself years ago, and I'm a little insider secret here, but this is an inner circle group. They're not here for free, they're investing. So I'm going to take you behind the scenes now, and I'm going to tip something. When I collect on the $47 fee or the $97 fee, and I'm not providing a workbook or materials, I'm giving you another angle here. I don't process the credit card. Period. When they come to the event, we indicate that because we truly care and we're passing this work forward and we're going to create massive value, that this is our way of making sure they're serious. When they show up, 100% refund of all their monies. But because we never process, there's nothing to refund. We never process the card. Now, why is this beneficial? And again, Peng Joon, I'm sure, won't agree with this in today's world, but it's an option when they get there, if they get there. Not only do we not process, but then I tell them, I said, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if I wanted your money, I would have processed your card. Isn't it sad that we need to play these games to get people to show up for something free? Because today I'm going to take care of you. Now, at the end of the day, I want you to know that an offer will be made, an offer to train with me further. But today is my gift to you. There's no lies, there's no duplicity, there's no prevarication. There are no salesmen here. It's just me, Peng Joon. It's just me, Joel Bauer. It's just me, you. Now, one thing, your first name, because your name disappeared. I can't see
Eileen.
it. Oh, Eileen. So
Yeah,
Eileen, let me ask you something. You know, Peng Joon and I are very concerned about your show ratios because you can have 1,800 people commit to be somewhere and then have 100 show up. And very often the general percentage, at least in the United States and often here in Asia, is 30% show ratios. That's if you're doing text verification. That's if you're doing email verification. That's if you're making a personal phone call, have an email campaign, video campaign. If you're doing all those things, it's still about 30, 40% show ratios. Now, if they have money on the table or they believe there's money on the table, the show ratios are a little larger. The mistake that Peng Joon and I recently made at an event in LA is we didn't ask for anything. And as a result, it affected our, now, did we deliver? Oh my God, did we over deliver? The people were thrilled. Did they invest in an opportunity at the end of the day that we told them about? What were the closing ratios?
35%?
35% solid.
Yeah. More than that. Yeah.
And this was not low ticket, guys. This was not a $2,000 offering. It was a $7,000 to $13,000 offering. I mean, so understand something. I'm not trying to confuse you, but what I want to tell you here, and again, let me see her name again. Okay, so Eileen, I would urge you, if you really want people to show up at your event, to offer them the initial 30-minute 3 webinar series or 2 webinar series or 7 secrets or 5 steps or the inner circle expose or pulling the curtain back. I would offer them something of value up front where they get to know you and believe in you, because I don't know what you're doing as a precursor. Just because you're a beautiful, blonde woman, probably in great shape and a fantastic contributor and great to your friends, and you have this great offering for this new event, they don't know your track record. And so I'm guessing, are you doing anything as a precursor to build value? Because Peng Joon now has a track record. They can check him out. He has a lot of offerings and free trainings. What have you done online to substantiate someone going, because I want you to have a really high turnout. And sometimes you got to do a little tiny bit of work, which is then automated to build that base where they trust you and they go, hey, I'm really into this person. This woman's very special. She offers a doorway of opportunity, of trans. I can relate to her. And therefore, if I train with her, I'll be able to overcome many of the obstacles she's overcome. The man in her life who literally she was committed to, who turned and walked away, a Dear John letter. The business who turned her away, who didn't appreciate her contribution because she was over delivering and she was overqualified, and her boss suddenly recognized and realized that Eileen could do his job better than him. And so out of insecurity, he fired her. And all these other obstacles, I don't know what you've overcome, but I'm sure that I'm not too far from reality. So question, Eileen, what have you already done to substantiate and win over my confidence that costs you nothing to present online so that I will show up? Because I will always show up if I'm in love with your process and if I'm in love with your intentions, then I will show up. The reason they don't show up is they don't know us. They haven't gathered enough value yet. Otherwise, the conversion is crazy and the show ratios are crazy.
That's really good. No, this is going to be my first live event, so I think the takeaway I'm getting from you is to give some sort of series of training that's story based in order to build relationship. It'll increase the show up rate. So that's amazing.
Yeah. So if you model Peng Joon and you just do so Peng Joon, take over here, teach her how to just create I mean, he's $97 funnel right now. The video challenge. We're not talking about money here. I mean, you really should do that and put those things. That's going to bring you zero cost conversion. Talk to her about that.
There's going to be a lot of different funnels, like the challenge funnel is a front end funnel. Okay, I would say that the best way to fill your events and to make sure that they show up 100% is through the webinar. And if you want to be able to bundle the tickets to the live event with your course, that is going to further increase the perceived value of your course even further. So I would definitely say that for those of you who want to do live events like Eileen, the best way to fill up that live event is through a webinar. Whether if it's bundled with a course, just make sure you don't give it away for free. Make sure you charge $97 or $47 materials fee, like how I positioned just now. Or it could be just for the course, and then if you sold just the course, then of course it's tongue twist over there, but then the show up rate would be a lot higher.
And you're also going to feel better about it, Eileen. When you create some value up front, those people come and they have a vested interest in you. And I want all of you to hear this. You want them to kind of understand you before the doors open. And the worst thing you can do when they come into that event for the first time is not have a reel of testimonials playing. Because when you walk out there, it relaxes you because they kind of know about the results you generate. The reason we play all these pre-framed videos is before the event starts. I play a half an hour of them. And people are like, they're relating to people that are from Asia and from Israel and from Pakistan and from Bangladesh and from all over the world, because my processes work all over the world. Peng Joon, 33 countries. Now, you might be saying, well, wait a minute, we don't have what Peng Joon and Joel Bauer have. We didn't have it either. You start to build it. Maybe it's just a few friends. Maybe, Eileen, it's just 2 interviews. A man and woman, your neighbors, who you did something incredible for. Someone at work who you helped behind the scenes, a close friend who was about to walk away from their marriage. They made a commitment for life. And due to some strife, they were going to walk away. And you saved their marriage. And you saved their relationship with their daughter. Those are the most potent things. That stuff really impacts people. So let's say you don't have a lot of testimonials. You could just do 1 or 2 interviews. Peng Joon will probably send you, if he hasn't already, the behind the scenes interview that we did.
Top 10 things.
Yeah, and that's actually empowered some of his funnels and been very effective as a bonus gift. And I play that before some of my events because it legitimizes what they're going to learn, because they live vicariously through his words and his results. It's all about results, Eileen. So create some value up front. You're going to have a higher show ratio. You're going to have a lot more people attending your event than you planned on. You're going to spend much fewer dollars on Facebook advertising and other forms of advertising because people will they'll bring their friends. And what you can do is you can charge the $97, which Peng Joon clearly defined. But if they bring 3 people that opt in, you give them 3 scholarship tickets, and then they come for nothing. And they get a bonus half day with you the following Monday morning. And so that'll fuel your entire event. And then let me just give you guys a really behind the scenes secret. So your bonus half day, and Peng Joon, I don't think I've discussed this with him. This is like nuts. I so shouldn't be tipping this here. So here you are. I'm going to give you guys the answer to doing an entire half day coaching now with no preparation. Huh? None. Eileen's going to do her half day event, her full day event, whatever it is, her boot camp. She's going to give great value. Those who brought 3 people with them, now how many people does it take to fill a 100-room theater? 30. That's not very hard to motivate 30 people to bring 3 people. And if they're bringing 3 people because of the wonderful experience they had when you educated them online prior to the event, so get this, they now get to go inner circle to your inner sanctum, your suite at that hotel. And you got the suite for free anyway because you booked the room, and part of the negotiation was you got a free room or the upgrade or whatever, because hotels, that's a whole nother discussion. There's ways of really negotiating the rates down to very low levels. So now you ask the people who brought the 3 people with them what their number one takeaway was. The first person says, the fact that you, Eileen, were really prepared. You were so prepared. I loved your graphics. I love the timing on the slides. I love the way you delivered and connected through the use of metaphor. I loved your languaging. I love the way you walked around the room and you touched the people spiritually and emotionally and physiologically. I love the way you did demonstrations of what you teach. Now, you're recording this session with them and they can see the camera and you tell them you're recording it. You, Eileen, now respond to them. And you make some distinctions about the things that they love. Eileen, this is a no-brainer because they're only acknowledging what you just did. So it's easy for you to, with no preparation, to respond. Let's say 20 people each brought 3 people. Okay? This is very realistic. Let's just say 15. And they each brought 3 people. Wow. Eileen, wouldn't you be happy with just a small event with 60 to 100 people out of the gate? Eileen, I've made up to $500,000 with 16, 17 people in a room. It's not the amount of people. It's the value of the stack. It's the significance of the offer. It's what you charge. You don't have to have a big, sometimes Peng Joon and I are in huge rooms. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's the ultimate payday. Sometimes it's a smaller room where there's greater connection, like in Vietnam, where, you know, their hearts are so evolved. So Eileen, get this, guys, you don't see this coming now. You just videotaped 15 people, each talking about their ultimate takeaway. You're not asking them to get creative. Just talk about one thing you learned. They're all going to find something to talk about, and they're going to have a lot of time to do it because they're going to listen to other people. Do you know what you just did at the end of that one day? You now say, I want all of you to please write down your email address, the one you'd like to give to the world at large, because I'm going to promote all of you. Huh? Write down your Facebook address. I'm going to promote all of you. Your LinkedIn account. I'm going to promote all of you. I want you all to describe what you do in one paragraph. Write it down on a piece of paper right now, because I'm going to promote all of you for free. Oh, by the way, if the people I send to you happen to generate any income and you actually sell deals and opportunities, I will respectfully expect you to send me 50% because I'm about to write a book. Each of you gets a chapter. But don't worry, you don't have to write anything. You already did. I'm going to transcribe your ultimate takeaway. And then I'm going to have my rebuttal, your Facebook, and make sure you all send me your picture by Tuesday at 5 p.m. If you don't send me your picture, you're not going to be in the book. Eileen, you just generated a 12 to 20 chapter book. And Eileen, you now take video cuts of each of those people that you just want to remember their takeaways and your response, and you just take little consolidated edit points and you put on a QR code at the beginning of each chapter. Not only is it a book, but it's a video interactive book. It's got audio, video, written text, and it's got a download, and it gives someone the ability who buys the book or takes it as an ethical bribe as a download on your funnel. So now you can fill your next room with the 20 reasons that people's lives were changed at my one-day event.
That is, first of all, that is how I created Event Codex. I knew that if it was left up to me on my schedule, my timing to create a $2,000 course, to go to commit to getting my videographer and shoot all those videos, I'm never going to get it done. So what did I do? I created an event and asked a bunch of people and showed them, what if it was an event showing you how to run live events? And there was so much interest that even ClickFunnels, they wanted me to do it at their office. So I actually did the Event Codex event at the ClickFunnels office. And at that event, what I did, all those things that Joel mentioned is exactly what I did at Event Codex. I did the event, did takeaways where people are sharing on a mic, all those different clips turned into testimonials, turned into things like into my course. I just got my entire event home study course that is now sold online, turned into a book, transcribed, with some things in a book removed so it becomes a workbook so that it's now actionable. Okay, so something that I did that took me one weekend to do is now turned into a digital asset for life, into a $2,000 course that sells every day, that is now turned into a book so that I can turn it into a front-end funnel that is now affordable to a lot more people. Okay, so sometimes all it takes really is to turn something that is important into something that's critical. And you do that by making a commitment that you cannot back out of. That's how I did Event Codex. Because if we all have a bunch of important things. And when you have 37 things that's important, how many things do you think you end up doing? 0, right? So that's one way to turn something that's important to crucial. I want to wrap up this call. I think that for Joel, I know he hasn't slept the whole night, so I want to be, I want to make sure he gets enough sleep.
Tell him about the airplane. Tell him about our strategy.
So anyway, there was only one flight to this part of Japan, and they didn't have the business class tickets were all sold out, so we decided to tough it out, and we just pretty much didn't sleep the entire night.
And we won't be doing that again. Oh my God! So I see 3 open seats, and I said, Peng Joon, I said, in the United States they would not be open still. So we're going, how fast do I need to move? And we're like designing this is a strategy for me to get these 3 seats, because I'm squashed in there and I'm an American. My butt is wider than the metal chamber that I've been encased in. So I said, you'll have to bring me my stuff. So anyway, the second the plane went like this, and Peng Joon says, you're going to have a single mind, of single consciousness, walk past the stewardess, walk past the flight attendant, as if there's no way to stop you. And I go, yeah, I get it. So it was like a lumberjack. I'm a big guy. I'm like 250. And I'm running. Boom, I go past her. I make a right, I make a left. And I swear to you, I didn't sit down in that seat. I flew into those seats to block the 3 of them. And it was still miserable. It didn't help me sleep. But we are here, and we are here to, and this is what you guys may not realize. We carry you guys with us. This is not our work. This is our life. Peng Joon doesn't do this part-time. I think he has his life very much in balance, but this is what he does. And Xu Ying would tell you that this is what's on his mind. And tonight he's thinking about his students. We're at dinner and he's thinking about you, and he's writing down notes, and throughout the day and on the plane, he's thinking about it. He doesn't just jump on these calls. There's a whole lot of experience backing it. And the reason he's prepared for you and can address your questions, because surely that's a question, is you're not going to throw anything at him. he hasn't already dealt with because he's already been through hell. Now, if you did throw something at us that we could not address because we didn't have it within our experience to address it, we're not going to make up an answer. We would just say, wow, I need to do some research on that. Let me speak to some of my friends in marketing. Let me assess an answer, because in my range of experience, I've never dealt with that concern. We're not going to make up an answer to something that we haven't experienced. As long as you guys come from your experience and you tell the truth, you remain in your authenticity, and you always use an example of proof to verify that what you just taught actually works. TAP, truth, authenticity, proof.
Joel, guys, I want to thank all of you for being on this call. I will have Joel send me the $1 billion principle worksheet.
Which you created.
Which my team created a while back. And we'll have it sent out.
Oh, by the way, you want to tell them what it cost?
In about 40
It cost us a lot to create that document.
Yes, it did. Okay. We'll have it sent out, uploaded in the members area, and probably in the Facebook group as well in about 48 hours from now. Okay.
Full replay of this entire recording without verbs on its way.
Joel, you want to end this and just summarize the session today?
Testimonials are the single most important asset that you have. People live vicariously through the words and actions of others. So make it your hobby now. Every one of you has been celebrated at some point. Someone has told you, hey, you made a difference in my life. You look fantastic today. And I love the fact you always find something good to say. You demonstrate by your actions. Every one of you has been complimented. Carry your pocket camera and use the following phrase. You don't mind if I take out my little tiny pocket camera and capture the way you feel about what it is I've done for you. We're going to send you the scripts. We're going to send you everything you need. Most important tool, testimonials, pre-frame. They set expectation. They punctuate each point you make. Overcome objections before the end, because the beginning is already beginning in the end game process where you have a value proposition. Every one of you must have a value proposition. Implement and use guarantees. Create great value on the front end so you can fill and fuel your events by spending very little money, and then over deliver at those events and offer people a compelling reason to want to return and bring a loved one so they can be part of a free inner circle half-day coaching with you.
Thank you all, and I will see you guys 2 weeks from now. Thank you guys. Appreciate you guys. Take care.